Alright, so for those of you just tuning in, I'm about to spectate another match between my viewers, which is of course part of my weekly Age of Empires 2 HD Edition community livestream. If you want to get in on this, you can find a link to my Twitch page in the video description below, and then you just head on over there, and you scroll underneath the video player to find my Twitch schedule. That's how you'll know when I'll be streaming next. Welcome Kafang, Benjamin Franco, and Bluefish. Hello Lorik as well. Okay, so to explain the settings really briefly, I've been fiddling around with the settings. I realize that the free-for-all spectating diplomacy games are really popular, so I'd be happy to do more of these, and as always, I'm open to your ideas. I think, though, that Regicide didn't appear to be that relevant the last time I did it. The game was pretty long, so we're trying a little bit of a smaller map size here. Steppe is an interesting map. It's sort of nomad style, where all the trees are around the edges of the map, and then everyone, doesn't start with the town center, of course. And we're doing King of the Hill as a way to sort of shorten the match length. Last man standing, which means that players are able to ally with each other, but you can't win as a team, so only one player actually gets to win in the end. I hope that King of the Hill forces players to actually fight each other a little bit more throughout the entire game, and it also keeps the match length just a little bit shorter. And I have a 5-minute treaty, of course, that way players don't lame each other at the start of the game. So, let's get this one started. I hope that this is going to be a good one. Yeah, JMS, there should be music this time, yes. Hello, Alexander97. Welcome to the stream. Alright, looks like we actually loaded in successfully. Is there no music? Aha. Well, now there is. Problem already solved. So, if we take a look at the map layout, is as I explained earlier. We're looking at Tor McCoy's perspective here, our red player, and he's going to be the Franks. I'll be switching around, of course, between players' perspectives throughout the entire game, and friend reveal colors doesn't actually really do anything here because players, can be allied with each other but not allied with other people, so it gets really confusing. I'll be doing my best to keep track of players' alliances throughout the game. It's likely that at some point I miss some stuff, but I will be switching perspectives to trying my best to keep track of everything. As you can see, every player starts without a town center, so they all have groups of villagers spread out around the edges of the map. This is where all the trees are, of course, and there are no trees in the middle of the map. And I think this is perfect for something like King of the Hill. So we have this big deforested middle area where all the players will be converging their forces and fighting. So at the start of the game, what you want to do is take all your villagers and build a town center like Tor McCoy is doing. Another couple interesting things about this map is that instead of a scout cavalry, you actually have a horse, which is substantially worse than having a scout cavalry, as the horse itself has a very poor line of sight. If we swap to Tor McCoy's perspective and toggle on that fog of war, you see the horse not so good at scouting. It turns out that the horse is a lot worse at communicating information to his king when there's no one riding him. I imagine how a horse scout works is that the horse gets back from exploring the area, he comes back, and he starts neighing, and they're like, what does it mean? What does it mean? Where's the enemy, Mr. Horse? And then no one actually understands him, which is why his line of sight is so low. And that's why, on a completely irrelevant note, I never really understood how sheep scouting worked, but then again, I wasn't around in the Middle Ages to actually experience that firsthand. You also start with a bunch of yurts, which are just essentially houses, and yeah, that means that players will have a little bit of a faster start here. I don't believe that so DNM asks if players will lose their horse if it runs to enemy villagers, kind of like sheep do. I do not believe that the horse auto-converts unless it started as a Gaia unit. I think it's the difference between the sheep and the horses is that, at least in this case, the horse can't be converted, I believe, unless it starts as Gaia. I think if it starts as a Gaia unit, it is actually able to be converted. Welcome to the stream, Clayman! So we're doing King of the Hill here, and how King of the Hill works is that there's this big old monument in the center of the map, and whichever single player holds it at the end is going to be the person who wins this game. So, as soon as someone brings a unit over here, it's going to start down this timer, and the timer, I believe, starts at like 550 years, and then it will keep ticking down. A year is a little bit longer than a second, and then once the timer hits 0 years remaining, whichever player has control of the center monument wins the game. And we're going to know which player has control of the center monument because of what color the timer is going to be at, so it will let us know there. Okay, Clement swears he's sober, yes. Benjamin Franco asks, which player do you think is going to win? Well, based off Elo alone, I mean, Earth Shogun is probably favored here, but you never really know. The thing that is supposed to make this one a lot more interesting is that, once the timer starts getting very low, then all players are very heavily incentivized to actually all gang up on that guy entirely. So someone like Earth Shogun we'll have to deal with all 6 players, presumably, if they're all willing to go ally against him. Welcome to the stream, T90 as well. Good to see ya. The next one after this will be a high-rated game. Call me Ivy. I've been considering spectating higher-rated games, but a lot of people tell me I might as well just be spectating expert games and giving my commentary on those instead, so I generally stick to the lower-rated ones. This seems to be one of the most popular things that I've done recently, so let me know what you guys want to see, and I'd be happy to continue delivering it. Really, like, I just want to bring Age of Empires 2 content and content for other games. I don't really mind what form that, whatever form that comes in, as long as I'm still playing games I enjoy, so this is something that I like, but of course, when I do these spectating games, that's not replacing any of the games that I'm actually playing in myself. Just a little bit of something on the side. Welcome, TK the PK. Yeah, you'll definitely have a chance to win the drawing later. Pipod asks, does the year timer reset if no one is there? That's a very good question, Pipod. I'm glad that you're asking these type of things. So here's how it works. This timer is going to keep ticking down. Tor McCoy started the timer, which I'm glad he did at the start, which means that, tension's ramping up, so Tor McCoy still controls this, but note that he has no units here. This is because he's not going to lose ownership of the center monument until another player sends their horse or just another unit to go capture this. So right now, Tor McCoy owns it, but as soon as anyone else sends another unit there, it'll switch ownership. If Tor McCoy left his scout here, they would have to kill his scout first to take control of the center monument. So it's not about how many units you have in the middle, it's just that as long as Tor McCoy has one unit, it will not switch ownership. Another interesting thing about King of the Hill is that once you go down to below 100 years, if someone changes ownership of the hill, if you lose control of it, then the timer resets to 100 years. Hopefully the game doesn't take forever in that regard. I think I missed Colored Meterball's question. He says, how hard or worthwhile do you think it would be to try and make an old AOC AI compatible with the new expansions? I think it would be incredibly difficult because the HD AI engine is unfortunately missing a lot of user patch functions, and if you're talking about non-user patch functions, then it gets also really weird too. HD's AI engine handles a couple things a little bit differently, and it's really buggy. A lot of the functions don't actually work, and there are all sorts of new problems that get introduced about every single patch. I think that it's very difficult and frustrating to actually do something on HD for AIs. Welcome to Jolly Canadian. You cannot destroy the center monument, no. That would be really, really funny. It is 9,999 HP, but it is actually invincible, so you cannot blow it up with mangonels or anything either if you're trying to be cute. Tim K asked, what happens when control switches and there are 2 other people at the monument? I believe it picks one of them. I'm not exactly sure how the criteria works, but I believe that it would pick, I guess whoever has, like, the closest stuff, for example? Maybe it picks, in that case, who has more units there. I'm not entirely sure. In that case, though, we'll have to see what happens, but this little terrain that you see around the center monument, you actually can't build on that terrain, so you can't just, surround it in, like, 18 layers of stone walls. That way it'll never switch ownership. As long as you have something in this little area, it will switch ownership if no one else has any other units there. It's going to be absolute chaos as the timer is ticking down, and I hope that this, encourages players to interact with each other a little bit more. And there are going to be a lot of double crosses here. I think that it almost defeats the purpose, making King of the Hill diplomacy, right, if I'm not allowing allied victory, since everyone's just going to backstab the guy at 100 years, but I also think that'd be hilarious. As a way to actually, encourage players to fight each other, keep the action up. And if you want to win this game, you have to have earned it. This is also a way to prevent like these long sort of stalematy situations, which you saw in the last free-for-all that I did, where one player's in the corner and neither player, they're both on the opposite sides of the map, and no one wants to really engage each other, and they're both just kind of dancing back and forth. So the hill sort of forces the issue, and if you're ever having difficulty holding the center hill, you can always just kill the enemy players themselves. If you eliminate enough of them, then holding the center hill won't be so much of an issue because, well, there would be significantly fewer players to actually backstab you in the end. Colored Mirrorball says, can you show the civilizations again? Yes, I should definitely do that. So if we go check out the civilizations list here, so we have Tor McCoy. I'll be referring to the players in general based off their colors. So Tor McCoy is going to be the red Franks, and then we have Afro Ninja as the green Japanese, Earth Shogun playing as the yellow Aztecs, Pledge playing as the blue teal Incas, we have Raceland playing as the purple Vikings, War Master as the gray Saracens, and For Troy playing as the blue Byzantines. So a lot of the classic civs here, the Incas being the odd one out, so we'll have to see if Pledge is able to win this one for all of the forgotten civilizations. And yes, Earth Shogun going to swing by his horse in a little bit of a drive-by to secure control of the center monument, and then out of nowhere, For Troy comes and claims it back. Oh man, all the players in the lobby wanted to random their civilizations, even though I originally planned on letting them pick them, that way we could see a little bit more variety, because right now it's all basically the Conquerors and Age of Kings classic civilizations that we all know and love. Personally, I would have preferred to see some African Kingdom civs in here, but everyone wanted a random, which is totally fine. So we have a couple of players up to the feudal age now. We have our green Japanese player up to the feudal age. We have our teal Incas player, as well as our blue Byzantines player. Something that's already interesting to note is that I think this is one of Raceland's first online games, if not his first. So our purple Vikings is making a couple of militia right off the bat, but is not going aggressive with them. In fact, I see 4 militia right here. Now, I wonder if this is necessarily the right type of thing, but it's okay because at least purple has made sure to advance to the feudal age first before spending too much money on militia. You always have to be mindful of how many military units that you make too early if you don't plan on, aggressively raiding your opponent, because those are going to be resources that cut into your age advancement time substantially. So it's going to be very, very difficult for our purple player here to actually get to the castle age anytime soon. That's why we don't usually see that many militia and men-at-arms being created in general in Age of Empires 2, and that's why players will open up with a scout rush in the feudal age sometimes, but they won't continue scout production throughout the entire game, at least till they get to the castle age, because they're going to have to start thinking about getting the castle age at some point, and that's really going to eat into the necessary food that they need to advance. Yeah, I always upload all the good ones to YouTube, Martin's on Troll. Yes, so don't worry about that. Tony Core says, I need to know if you're allied with someone, can they see all your units and what you see? Absolutely, yeah. If you research cartography and you're allied with someone, even in these diplomacy games, you can see everything that they see. That's something very, very important to keep in mind. Now, I haven't been keeping that much track of alliances right now because it's not really relevant because no one's actually been hitting each other. Ooh, yes. Oh, I think this is something that a lot of new players do that is just a very common mistake in Age of Empires 2. So if you watch this later, Raceland, I think that a lot of new players, they're just very attracted to these barracks units because they're just convenient to make. After all, you need a barracks to build all your other military buildings, so why not make some infantry, right? You know you're going to need some military units to defend yourself, to apply offensive pressure, why not make some infantry? And I briefly explained this, at least with men-at-arms. There's something that really, really cuts into your castle age resources. You have to research men-at-arms, then you have to make all the men-at-arms themselves. They're also fairly easily countered by archers. And archers are just going to be one of the units that we see a lot of people utilize in the feudal age because, well, for example, the Mesoamerican civs, they can't build scouts, and archers just happen to cost only gold and wood, which means they don't cut into your castle age funds very much. Food being by far the more important resource for that, so it's okay to spend a little bit of gold. Archers are just a very, very strong answer to things like men-at-arms and spearmen. So it's not to say that men-at-arms and spearmen don't have a place in the Age of Empires 2 metagame. It's just generally, they're not going to be as useful unless you're going to attack with them early, perhaps in the Dark Age, and then upgrade them from there. So we'll see. But at least he's the Viking, so he does get to, take advantage of that much higher HP, and this will keep purple safe in the early game. It's just, should a horde of archers come his way, he's going to have a lot of trouble defending against them. I do like, though, that he is mixing up his army comp, and as long as purple is making sure that he's sustaining villager production, the most important thing you can do to improve your game is to just keep making villagers, make sure your town center is always doing something. Whether it's researching technologies, advancing to the next age, or making villagers, until you have at least half the max population of the game, which in this case would be about 100 as villagers. You're going to need a really strong economy to constantly sustain troop production if you want to come out on top in the end. So we switch over to Fort Troy's perspective. So this is going to be our blue Byzantines. He is on his way up to the castle age right now at 30 out of 30 population. Going to need another house soon. Looks like blue is heavily considering going for some form of archer-type units, and he does have an economy that's somewhat suited for it. He's got to figure out, though, what all these villagers should be doing. I like that he did rebuild his lumber camp, though, and I think that that's a good thing. A lot of new players do make the mistake, I think, of building their initial lumber camps too far away from the tree line, or they just don't replace them, and then your villagers spend so long walking that it ends up being very efficient. DNM asks, if you set someone to ally, does cartography count? I'm not exactly sure if they have to set you as ally as well. Let's see. Lucas Sade says, if you turn enemy with someone and you've seen them with cartography, does it all disappear? It's just replaced with Fog of War. Yes. Of course, if anyone has any questions during this game, I'd be happy to answer them. I might miss your question, though, if you posted initially, but post it again within a few minutes and I'd be happy to get back to you. Twitch chat moves relatively fast, and there's a lot I have to talk about while we go through this. Spectating these games is absolutely exhausting because sometimes the matches go on for a really, really long time. So I've been trying to think of ways where I can shorten the matches down just a little bit so that they don't end up going on for like 2 hours, so I don't have to end up talking for the whole entire time period. Also makes them a little bit more watchable while still being epic. So hopefully these are the more superior settings. A suggestion I've heard a lot is do something like Gold Rush as a way to force people to fight. And I'm not necessarily sure if that forces them to fight, or if it just makes it so, you know, whichever player ends up getting a lead gets all the gold, and then there's no chance for a comeback whatsoever. Xavier Tenka says someone should ally with everyone to research spies for 200 gold. Does it work that way? I'm not exactly sure if it works that way, but maybe it does. JMS says, who do you have money on this game? I don't have money on anybody right now, but I would say that, you know, the two players, you know, we're going to keep track of people with the highest scores. So Pledge, our Teal Incas player, and Yellow are, you know, they're looking pretty good right now for score. So I would say that, you know, Purple over here is going to be one of our underdogs. But I'm not going to discount anybody, because hopefully with the King of the Hill thing, it's going to be a massive liability making sure that you're the one who holds the hill as the timer starts to reach 0, as everybody is incentivized to gang up on you. And if you want to actually win the game, you better have a colossal lead. So TK the PK says that cartography only works if they're both allies with each other. That would make more sense. Von Wagenigan says start the game to feudal H to speed up the game. I feel like that would change a lot of the dynamics of Age of Empires 2, and it would mess up a lot of people's build orders, but it's something I'm definitely open to and I've considered. So we're taking a look at players' army counts. I mean, honestly, like, Purple has one of the largest armies, if not the largest army in the game. So if we swap over to his perspective, I'm curious to see who's allies with Purple. So Purple is only on a team with Teal, and this is something that I've discussed a lot in my other free-for-alls, which I'll, of course, you feel free to go check them all out on my channel if you're interested. I'll have links to all that in the video description below. Like, really, when it comes to allies, I feel like, you know, picking correct allies, like, geographically is very important. Like, I'm not really sure what benefits, you know, Purple really gets from allying with Teal across the map. It's not like those guys are going to be attacking each other. If anything, I would start looking at perhaps someone like, you know, Green over here is perhaps a potential ally for Purple. You know, that way you don't have to deal with the other flank as much. So, yeah, we'll have to see if that alliance pays off. They're definitely very far away. I'm doing great, Dark X99 Hero. Welcome to the stream. Hello, Grafosky, as well. Benjamin Franco asks, what type of civ is good on King of the Hill? I think it really depends, but definitely a civ with bombard towers is usually favored on King of the Hill, because you can just surround the center hill with all sorts of bombard towers. It makes it very difficult for your opponents to actually push through. Of course, if they utilize things like battering rams and trebuchets, they will be able to get through it eventually. Also, civilizations with things like siege rams and you know, war elephants, like DNM says, units that are very difficult to remove from the center hill. But if everyone is keeping track of the countdown timer, I still think they'll be able to deal with that. The Chuck and Goo says, have you considered death matches? I've considered it, but it's not something that I play very much, and it's very difficult to balance teams for that. I've done a couple of deathmatch videos, which you're welcome to check out, but not that many people play deathmatch. So it's very difficult to actually balance the teams, and the ones that do happen to be quite good at it. So matches turn out to usually be very stompy. So right now, no real action from any of the players so far. I do like that Blue has a second town center. If this match ends up going too long, I might end up splitting it into two parts, but you can always find the second part in the video description below, of course. And it looks like Afro Ninja are green Japanese players on 2-3 town centers. This is good, because you want to hit that goal about half the max population, 100 villagers, about as fast as possible. One thing that really interests me is how defensive everybody is actually playing in this game. I feel like this map is, honestly, open enough that you are able to do some substantial economic damage to your opponent if you go out and raid. I almost wonder if this huge army from Purple is really going to accomplish anything whatsoever. And I'm surprised that everyone's just putting down so many TCs. Someone's got to punish Yellow for this incredibly greedy town center boom here. So he's up to a whopping 5 town centers. So Yellow wants to try and get as large of an economy as possible before he starts making military units. And I guess his map is set up in a way that he'll actually be able to defend against this quite nicely with all these stone walls. I think he's actually entirely closed off. I wonder if this town center is in range of these lumberjacks. Well, let's see. So is Yellow actually on the same team with Gray? Okay, so Yellow is. So, wow, Yellow has a really long list of allies. He has only 2 enemies, actually, Purple and Blue. So this is a rather pointless alliance, I suppose, as there's no way he's going to keep these allies all the time. If you're friends with everybody, and you can only win solo, I really wonder if that'll actually matter at some point. But in the meantime, this does allow Yellow, though, since he's allied with everybody and no one's in a position to betray him yet, that he'll actually be able to just boom up here completely untouched. I'm just surprised that everybody is just using their armies so defensively and not really going out and attacking anybody. But speaking of raiding and attacking, it looks like Purple will be caught a little bit off guard here, as he was patrolling his army on the left side, now has to defend against the Blue Byzantines. Catharsis says perhaps most people are allied with their neighbors. You would think, but not always. So I think it's quite fascinating that actually blue is going for a Cavalry Archer rush. It's important to note that on African Kingdoms and the current Forgotten Balance set we have, actually Cavalry Archers cost only 60 gold apiece rather than 70, so that's 10 less than the classic CD Balance 1.0C. And what this means is that honestly Cavalry Archers might be a viable choice for civs that aren't Huns. It's something that I don't think I've seen too many players experiment with, and it's something that I would like to play around with a lot as time goes on. Perhaps it's actually a viable strategy. Would it be good on the Byzantines, though? I'm not necessarily sure, and if you're never really sure what units to actually build as your civilization, I recommend just going to the tech tree and seeing how many upgrades that you're missing for each of them. If you haven't had full upgrades for a particular type of unit, it might be a reasonably good option to consider. In this case, though, I do believe the Byzantines are missing both Parthian tactics and bloodlines, which will significantly weaken their cavalry archers in the late game. One of the strengths of cavalry archers here is the ability to, micro them. So you fire a few shots, then you back up, you fire a few shots. This hit and run tactic allows them to deal with things like pikemen incredibly easily, except when you actually don't back up in time, and then you end up losing a lot of the strengths of the cavalry archer. If you're not using it to micro very carefully, then it becomes an incredibly expensive crossbowman. Cavalry archers, though, are very tanky, and there's something that I wonder if other civs are able to utilize. I think the purple will need a blacksmith at some point. He has so many military units, but without any upgrades, they will fare incredibly poorly against these blue cavalry archers. Even without perfect micro, blue here is able to make short work of purple because blue is putting his priority in the right places. So I'm trying to select only one cavalry archer, but it's like impossible in HD. He's got bracer, not bracer, so he's bodkin arrow and fletching. He's prioritizing his ranged upgrades for his ranged units, and this means, being able to get the first shot makes microing them a little bit easier, and that way he's able to just pick off these pikemen. Give him a colossal edge, and if you're making melee units, like our friend Purple is over here, what you're going to want is you're going to want the melee upgrades. That way they live a little bit longer, and you're able to survive those ranged hits. JMS says, would you consider listening to this stream? Would I consider listening to the stream while playing stream sniping cheating or no? I don't think I necessarily consider it cheating, although I would frown upon it only because I believe it would cause some sort of lag and it would raise the ping for all the players. So I encourage them if they're listening to just pause the stream, but I don't really think it would be cheating. I don't think they get really any information off this that could actually win them the game. If they happen to hear my advice and then change up their strategy, I think that's fine if they want to do that, but I would still discourage them from doing it anyway. So I don't really consider it cheating, but I don't think they should do that. Meanwhile, Red making a bunch of knights, so I like this. So Red is, he's playing to his civilization strengths. He realized that Franks have a lot of knight bonuses, lots of knight upgrades. Might as well make knights. He's got the defense upgrades for him. Rock solid. Couple of spearmen because you just never know. And, the cavalry archer thing is, it's actually paying off for blue, so even if it's not necessarily ideal, it's still working out here. Purple, he does have crossman upgrade now. He does have pikemen. This is good. This defensive watchtower is positioned reasonably well, so it will allow him to defend a little bit here. But a blacksmith, I think, is something that he's really, really missing out on. Meanwhile, Gray's going to be the first person to actually move his army towards the center of the map. On Wangadigan says, can you check everyone's TC or Vil count? That's not very easy to do. Hello, Ryan Paxson. Welcome, Dr. Oliver91. Ooh, rip horse. I mean, yeah, I could check all that out, but I think we get a general idea based off just looking at their score, because it would require me to change all my perspectives and then look at that and then subtract all the army count. We can tell that, honestly, yellow has a massive, massive lead here, and I don't actually know why purple and blue are fighting each other. I feel like it's something that a lot of players don't really consider when they're doing a free-for-all, but if you want to win the game, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to gang up on the big guy, not necessarily pick on the little guys. Killing purple here doesn't actually make blue's life really any easier whatsoever. It's not like, if you're blue, think about this for a minute here. Purple's not really a threat to you. You've already shown that you're at least a little bit more powerful in the situation. So if you're not really at any risk of dying to purple, why not team up and just take one load off your back? The real threat are going to be guys like yellow, guys like gray, anybody with a significantly higher score on you are the people you should be picking on rather than the players who are a little bit weaker than you. So I find it a little bit curious that a lot of the action is going on between these two players when I feel like they would just make natural allies. If enough people gang up on someone like yellow, then they should be able to take him down. Speaking of yellow, yellow is having an incredibly strong game. The Chuck New asked, why don't you ever play in these diplomacy games? And by the way, this is my first Friday off from the soccer in like 2 months. It's one of the only streams I watch. Well, welcome to Chuck. I don't play in these games because if I'm playing in the diplomacy game, you can literally only see it from my perspective. So you get to miss out on all the betrayals, and I feel like it would just be incredibly boring to watch because you only get to see it from my own perspective. People seem to like it when I spectate these games, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to stop playing games anytime soon. It just means I'm spectating this one right now. But yeah, it's like, you know, when people ask me to do 2v2s or they want me to play in the free-for-alls, it's not really a free-for-all then. You're only just seeing the small little bubble around me. Still waiting on the cooking show? Perhaps someday. Perhaps someday. We can tell how boom the players are just by looking at their score. Perhaps this is one of the more imbalanced free-for-alls we've had so far. I guess it's a little bit of a boon that everything's been working out smoothly so far. The hell is this? Is this a siege tower? I mean, the rating difference here isn't that much different than it has been in previous games, but I suppose that yellow is just a lot better than the competition. Still, though, since we're doing King of the Hill, and it's last man standing, he should be at a severe disadvantage here, as he's going to have to team up on all of these guys. So that was the hope, is that even if the teams turn out to be a little bit imbalanced, that everyone can work together and take down yellow, or they'll just make friends with him and allow yellow to build castles right next to your town center. War Master, my friend, you're called War Master, not Peace Master. Are you sure you want this castle here? I really don't know how I feel about this. Like, the moment that yellow just flips the switch... The moment that yellow flips the switch, and he's going to flip the switch at some point, you're going to lose this town center, you're going to lose this gold mine, and yellow's just... He's going to swing right in there and take over everything. So I don't know exactly how I feel about that castle positioning. And meanwhile, why is everyone picking on purple? Gentlemen, this is not the threat. I know you're all busy kissing up to yellow's ass, but this is not the way to win the game. Guys, focus. Raceland is not going to win anytime soon. If he does later, you can just kill him. What about yellow? What about the people who are actually holding the center of the map? Why is everyone ganging up on the lowest person here? Oh my goodness. Green, you fool! These are not the purple players you're looking for. Purple, you fool! Not purple, you fool. Green, you fool. Alright, well, green's pulling out now. We got 150 years remaining. The way I see it is killing purple doesn't make any sense because he doesn't have control of the center of the map, and if green loses any troops here, which he is going to lose some, if he loses any at all, then he's going to have a harder time contesting the center of the map as the timer ticks down. Right now, blue actually has center of the map. He has the center of the map under his control. I don't think he'll be able to hold it for that long. I just can't help but feel like this is a huge waste of military manpower when you could be picking on yellow, who's threatening to win the game at any point. Blizzy, thank you for the sub. 6 months in. Oh god, I think this is one of Raceland's first games online, so my heart goes out to him as everyone's ganging up on him for absolutely no strategic reason here. So, we owe you a better game, Raceland. My apologies. Not too much you can do here when you're being attacked on both sides. These troops, I feel like they're almost being wasted. I'm glad that blue swapped control over to himself. Maybe every player in this game ends up having a stroke instead of actually dealing with him. So it looks like we've got a fight here between the two Mesoamerican civs straight outside of War Master's base. As War Master is content to watch and let his minions do the fighting, whereas he'll snag the center monument at just the last moment. Eagle Warrior fight here. I think that some Aztec champions will be very, very strong against these Incan Eagle Warriors. Although it's important to note that I do not believe that he actually has couriers right now, so his Eagle Warriors are just going to be strictly weaker than the Aztec ones, which I believe have Garland Wars, but he's missing Blast Furnace. So, yes, Earth Shogun is a little bit ahead. Our yellow Aztec player has more upgrades. He's got 9+6 compared to 9+4. If Pledge or Teal Inca's player grabs that Courier's upgrade to give his Eagle Warriors a little bit more armor, he will be able to trade here at least evenly. But right now, he's just going to lose in a straight-up fight of even numbers. I would like to see some champions from both players, though, as a way to deal with these Eagle Warriors. And yes, Pledge, the Teal Inca's player, I'm proud of you, sir. Good call on that champion research. In fact, he could actually throw in some slingers, too, and he might be able to pull ahead a little bit here. I think that these two Titans will be duking it out, fighting each other here. I think that they both have a pretty equal chance at actually beating each other, even though yellow has a little bit of a score and economic lead right now. I think teal will be able to come out on top here if he grinds away at this enough. Lord knows why these two are fighting. Players right now still kind of ignoring the center of the map. And it looks like yellow... Okay, so one of the reasons why yellow is having a little bit of trouble and kind of breaking even with teal is that yellow has betrayed green. Yes, that is right, green! You fool! This is the real threat. So I like that yellow has betrayed green here, so yellow's going to come in and try and mess up all that delicious economy. So right now, yellow is only actually allied with gray. I think that's fine, because gray is, by far his closest opponent, so... And should yellow ever flip the switch at any point, he already has this castle here, which will just kill all those villagers. I think that yellow will be absolutely fine if gray ever double crosses him. So I like that yellow's got his priorities in the right place. I feel like he is allied with the correct people. DNM, I have a video on the Siege Tower which you might find interesting if you want to learn a little bit more about how they work. But essentially, they're a very buggy, broken unit that's overpriced, but it allows you to store units inside it, and then you can use them to drop over on the other side of a single layer of walls. We're down to 100 years remaining, so it's about time that these players start shifting their focus to the middle of the map, and our Teal Incas player has recognized this. He's going to secure control of this, reset the timer back to 100 years. Meanwhile, Blue inching the line forward, and Purple down but not out. I hope that he is replacing all those lost villagers and making multiple town centers. This is what I was talking about in the lobby. The most important thing you can do to improve as a player in Age of Empires 2 is to make sure that you're building a large economy, trying to get to that goal of 100 villagers as fast as possible. And you can do that by building multiple town centers. Poor Purple over here is very, very low in the population department. This is something that I will check out. Yes, he's at a very low, modest 40. And, well, Yellow has invoked the Wrath of the Gods, but Gray is actually here to back him up in the meantime. I expect that Gray and Yellow will at some point betray each other, but I think it's important that they both remain on the same team for now until they, take control of the middle monument. I still can't help but shake the feeling that this favors Yellow, though, like the moment that they turn on each other, because Yellow already has his castles in a superior position. Well, Blue's moving in here. He's trying to destroy that mining camp, and, well, I don't know if Purple should be sending some of his knights to the middle of the map yet, because there's no way he can compete with Blue's army. Blue getting all sorts of upgrades, slowly inching the line forward with all those castles. He has a siege workshop, bunch of barracks coming down. I like the Blues making a good mix of units that'll make him a lot harder to deal with. Yellow over here incorporating a llama into his army, which will be very difficult to counter. While Samurai have an attack bonus versus unique units, the llama is not actually a unique unit, and therefore is a strict hard counter to any Samurai-based strategy. Meanwhile, Blue completely teched up to champions, has all sorts of upgrades. He's got couriers, I like this, so Teal with all of the essential upgrades, getting them all in the correct order. Teal looking very, very scary, so we can see that based off player scores, who's on top right about now. Purple's going to be the underdog, but I think it's important that players utilize him carefully in alliances to try and come out on top, as Purple's probably not going to be someone who wins this game, but if you get him on your side, he'll be just enough extra bodies perhaps to push you over the edge and allow you to win the game. Timer going to get reset yet again, as Yellow is just going to march his army in here, and he knows, he's flexing his muscles, that Blue does not want to engage here, as Blue is just at a little bit of a military disadvantage. Meanwhile, Green will be able to safely siege this with his Japanese trebuchet, and that's a pretty scary looking army, but oh no! Upgrade priority a little bit out of whack. Hello, Sir Lawrence, and hello, Alexander. So he says, when will we see a Camel Archer Rush videos? Very soon. So, oh man, this is unfortunate stuff here. So, padded archer armor taken before fletching. Now, you want to prioritize your defense upgrades always for your melee units first. That way they can resist those arrow shots a little bit better. Doing extra damage doesn't really matter if you're just dying to, things like town centers and archers. But when it comes to ranged units, getting the first shot is more important. It's not something that's immediately intuitive right away, but hopefully it makes sense. You definitely want to be able to get that first shot. Having padded archer armor here is just a lot less value than you would get out of something like fletching. And aha! Blue being very cheeky with these mangonel shots, getting so much free damage. And now he gets to pull back into these castles, so I love this play here from Blue. Yellow is going to lose a lot of troops if he wants to kill these two mangonels, and I think this is an absolutely worthwhile trade for Blue. He's only going to lose one mangonel, and he gets to weaken a huge chunk of this army, kill so many of those, so great play here from Blue. And now Yellow. Oh, he's surrounded, and Purple in here with no blacksmith upgrades, but he does have a huge army of berserks, so I think it's pretty cute. I like these making those. Berserks are actually going to be bizarrely good here against Yellow's army comp, as berserks are reasonably good against skirmishers. They have a little bit of pierce armor, and they're very good against things like pikemen and eagle warrior. Well, this is assuming that you have some upgrades, though, which Purple doesn't, so his army comp is going to be a lot weaker, but still, either way, oh man, if only Yellow was allying with Purple. It's a very low-risk, high-reward thing I think you could do here. Yeah, it's going to be some casualties on Yellow's end, and I think that Purple should really be focusing on his economy right now. Does Purple even have a blacksmith? I don't believe he does. But yes, if there's one thing I want you guys to take away from this game is that the blacksmith is love, blacksmith is life, and you also want multiple town centers. Looks like this castle did finally go down, so Green a huge thorn on Yellow's side. Yellow very much regretting double-crossing Green right there. Oh man, Yellow and Gray might be on the same team, but they're struggling right now to get map control. Absolutely struggling, as Blue being a colossal thorn in his side, and now Teal moving in. Earth Shogun's Reign of Terror, Yellow's Reign of Terror ends here. I thought that these guys are going to be an intimidating alliance, but look at Gray over here, scumbag, the worst ally in existence. No, I'm kidding. Not the worst ally in existence, but Gray is allied in name only. He's content to sit back here with his own army, wait till he has full upgrades. All his villagers, his gold miners on strike too. Not gonna help yellow at all. Now, I wonder if this is actually because War Master is allied with teal still too. Oh, he is, so Gray's on the same team with teal. This is what I mean, like, where the friend or foe colors don't do anything. Gray's on the same team with both teal and yellow, so he's gonna let them resolve their differences. And then, when the game ends, War Master will be the last survivor, as he's going to be the one who gets to clean up after both these guys have lost their entire army. Yellow's actually somehow held the middle. He's down to 40 years, so he's getting dangerously close to winning. God, if he just pulls a win out of his ass right here, that would be absolutely awful. Okay, so Gray is finally coming in to defend and try and take blue off the center of the map. Wow, purple being the hero of the day, the only guy who's trying to stop yellow from actually holding the center of the map. I mean, blue's obviously trying too, but he can't because Gray's sort of blockading him. Yellow down to 33 years remaining, but he might run out of pikemen and champions here. Will purple secure control of the center of the map? Scumbag War Master might not allow it. But we're seeing right here that the lack of blacksmith upgrades is truly the kryptonite of this game. Oh god! Teal's coming in, and Gray has secured control of the center of the map. Look at this guy abusing alliances. He's friends with both of these guys. He gets to win all of this. These guys get distracted wasting their armies on each other. Now Gray has control of the center of the map, and he didn't have to do anything for that. Brilliant. I love it. Yes. Well, poor purple is going to have to regroup some of his troops. Still very, very low on the population. Not enough villagers to win the game. But it's okay, the little victories that count. Purple, the underdog, will be clearing out Afro Ninja, the green Japanese mining camp right here, securing back control of this gold mine. And if he gets to the castle age at some point, makes some more villagers, builds a blacksmith, he will be a threat. He will have a good chance of winning this game. I think Blue's been playing a great game so far, and Blue is, I believe, on... Okay, yeah, so Blue is actually enemies with Red, so that really, really sucked. Blue's been having a very, very good game. I know he's a newer player, but I think he's still been playing this really, really well. And you know what sucks? Not having that many allies. How many allies does Blue actually have? Because he has none. Okay, the Lone Wolf strategy might not end up working out here. The way that you're going to win these free-for-all King of the Hill diplomacy games is to secure an alliance, gain map control, hold the center for just 100 years. And you're not going to really be able to actually get control of the center initially without forming some sort of alliance with somebody. This is why I think that Blue and Purple, very low-risk, high-reward alliance. You don't need to worry about Purple coming in there and killing you, but you're actually going to need his help. Like, Purple will be very, very useful in this case. You're going to need his help. Just having a few extra bodies will be quite useful there, and I really feel like, you know, Blue and Red could also be on the same team. They're all going to have a lot of difficulty actually breaking through this super alliance, and yeah, Teal and Yellow still fighting each other. Meanwhile, Gray's like, you don't see anything. Down to 66 years remaining, someone's going to have to go deal with Gray, but in the meantime, all these players content to just kill poor old Blue. But I like that Blue has put a big chunk of his economy near the back edge of the map, so he will be able to run away from the center, recoup his losses, and rebuild where it's safe. Because he's probably going to lose most of the forward part of this base. Red's like, we should ally, dude. I agree. Make friends, not enemies. And then at the last minute, make them all enemies. Well, Purple's still desperately trying to contest the center of the map, but oh man, he's got his university coming down, but we need to see that blacksmith. New lumber camp, that's good. I think the Purple, I like that he's not waiting until he has like all of his upgrades before he's moving out, and he's actually just trying to use his army, but in this case though, he probably still wants a little bit more troops. It's a careful balance, definitely, between whether or not you should actually wait until you have a very, very large army and you have a lot of upgrades before you move out. You want to make sure that you're using your army and that you're not wasting it. It's a careful balance. Gray is retreating. What the hell? Well, if we go back to, wait a second. Wait, what's going on over here? So Gray's killing all sorts of Teal's units right now, and we go over to Raceland's perspective. Is Raceland on the same team with Gray? No, he's not. So Gray just happened to pull out and give Purple control of the center monument. I did not think that this would happen, honestly, during the entire game, if I'm going to be perfectly frank. But yes, Purple, our hero, has actually secured control of the center monument. He's holding it on for 10 years, 11 years. Oh my goodness. Purple in control of this game, threatening to win. Is Gray actually going to retreat, realizing that, well, yeah, actually has to retreat because right now Teal has backstabbed Gray, realizing that Gray really just hasn't been doing too much, and War Master purely looking out for himself right now. Gray not content to help either of them. And as a result, Teal's going to turn on Gray, and Gray has to move his entire army back. Purple still somehow holding the center monument for 20 whopping years. Yeah, he's held it for 20 years, but he's going to suicide his army into Reds rather than just trying to hold it as long as humanly possible. 21 years. Proud of you, Raceland. Good job. Oh, will Gray be able to hold the line here? I'm not exactly sure. He has a lot of siege rams, so he actually should be able to push back Teal a little bit. And this is creating a little bit of a lull in the action between Yellow and Teal as Yellow has shifted his attention into Green's base. But I think Yellow will be able to win this fight. I think the Onager is a good choice here. It's a great way to go deal with those skirmisher units. Just take them all down. I like Green's army comp a lot. I think that Yellow's only building like skirmishers and pikemen just because he happens to be poor. And they happen to be decent units for the Aztecs. I think he's missing Atlatl and chemistry, but not a huge deal here. Meanwhile, Blue and Red, I believe, are on the same team. Ah, crud. All right, so Purple managed to hold the center monument for almost 40 years, which really honestly blows my mind. So I'm really... I'm proud, man. I'm proud. Nicely done. All right, so even if Purple loses this game, I think that he'll go down with the fight. We can say that he held the center monument longer than a lot of the players actually did in this game. Meanwhile, it looks like Yellow is going in for the killing blow against Green. Green just not able to sustain troop production here. Desperately falling behind in population, trying to scramble together whatever defenses he can. Okay, it looks like he actually has a fairly large army of cavalry at the back, which maybe he wants to send in. I don't know if he's saving them for a rainy day or something, but once again, Yellow going to move his army in a little bit too far forward and lose almost everything to that castle, so Green should be mostly fine, although he did actually ring the town bell. And generally we'll see a lot of higher rated players not ring the town bell at all, but rather they'll drag a box around their villagers and, garrison them in their town center manually, and then, send them back to work with a send back to work button. And the reason that they do this is because if you ring the town bell, like these are the villagers that are immediately threatened, but when you ring the town bell, it also garrisons all of these villagers and all of these ones. It puts them all in the town centers, regardless of, how close they are to the battlefield. So you end up losing out on a lot of your economy. That's so much villager idle time. When all the villagers are in your town center, they basically might as well be dead. They're not gathering any resources, so that does a lot of economic damage to you. Ring the town bell, while it's easy, it's just one button, is usually very, very inefficient. And Yellow is pissed. He's weakened Green substantially. Green has to regroup his army, recoup after the losses, and in the meantime, Yellow is moving his army and infantry into the middle of the map. Red's still missing a couple of upgrades. He's missing the final defense upgrade for those elite skirmishers as well as chemistry, but I think that's going to be fine. Throwing Axemen are a reasonable choice here against all those infantry units. We'll have to see how that pays off. I love that Blue and Red have decided to, put aside their differences, because here's the thing. You want to think of it as a sort of endgame situation. If they both have to fight each other, I think that they would much rather fight each other than fight Yellow. So I like that they're working together here, trying to claim control of the center of the map. My eyes are I'm still waiting for that blacksmith. It's gonna come at some point. I'm gonna keep my eyes peeled. Xavier Tenka says, I could make something like a gaming channel that's not related to Aoe. Unfortunately, that's a suggestion that I get a lot, but it just never works. It just absolutely never works. No one actually goes to the secondary channel. I mean, we saw Zero Empires try it, and I don't see a reason to ever build a secondary channel for games that aren't Age of Empires 2, because I've never set the precedent that I only do Age of Empires content. Since the start of opening my channel, I've always done different things on the side. I did a lot of Pokemon. A lot of people probably don't remember, but back when my channel was smaller, I even did more Pokemon than I did AoE at a point. So no one actually goes to the secondary channel. It's absolutely not worth the effort, and my channel has never been strictly just for Age of Empires 2 content. So hopefully that makes sense. It just doesn't work. Anyway, if we go back to the middle of the map, and by the way, that doesn't mean that I'm stopping doing AoE content. I just like to do things on the side. The hero has arrived! Purple, into the center of the map, is going to try and usurp control of the middle, take down Yellow, the evil tyrant, but Yellow is reinforcing this. Look how many barracks this guy has. This is ridiculous. I think a lot of players don't make enough unit production facilities, but look at these barracks. Oh my god. Can Yellow sustain production from all of them? I mean, maybe this is the way to do it, because he's actually still floating a little bit of food and wood. So maybe he's able to do this. He's putting down this castle. Yellow's trying to push for the GG, but he's going to have to get through red and blue. And once again, this is what I'm talking about. Purple might not win this game, but whoever's going to win this game has to be friends with Purple. He's a key player here. He is. Those bodies, he's been really messing up Yellow's plans. And actually, he took the center for himself at a point for almost 40 years. Meanwhile, the game has frozen in typical Aoe2 HD fashion. Who will survive? Who will remain at the end when all the lag is done? Tour McCoy, keep holding on, my friend. Could use Illuminite? No, Sir Lawrence. I don't know why people ask me to do the second channel. It never works. That's not a no. Uramacho says, you go play more Pokemon anytime soon? If enough people convince me that they're willing to watch it and they would like to, then I'd be happy to do more of it. Oh man. Oh man! Yellow's down to 48 years remaining! Everyone just throwing bodies at this with so many unit production facilities. Someone's gotta shoot Yellow in the foot. Green, it's time. Seize the opportunity. Kill Yellow. Apply the killing blow directly to the forehead. Go and blow up his economy. Blow up his military. Do something. 40 years remaining. Yellow might actually be able to hold this if Green doesn't move his army out right now. And he is, but he should be moving them towards the center of the map. Wrong way, my friend. Wrong way. Cavalry over here. Yeah, Cataphracts would be pretty good here, but I'm assuming that Blue is just a little bit poor on the gold department. Meanwhile, Purple, regrouping his army. Will he be the turning point? They need just a little bit more firepower to push Yellow off the center. That's so many barracks. That's disgusting. Gray, now's the time to double-cross him. Although the moment that you do, this castle is going to, like, murder this town center. I don't even know why he built any farms here at all. That's, like, dangerous stuff. 30 years remaining. Yellow definitively holding the middle of the map. Someone's got to do something. Guys, move army to the middle right now. Oh, Purple's moving in his stuff. Oh man, Purple still only allied with Gray right now. Purple's moving in his... Guys, I don't know what... Gray is actually trying to kill Teal right now. But guys, 25 years remaining. This is it. This is it. There's no allied victory. To the middle of the map. Somebody tell Gray and Green. You don't win if Teal dies. Oh my god. 20 years remaining. Come on. Where's everyone else? Ah, here comes the cavalry, but it might be too little too late. Purple, one of the few players in this game who's playing King of the Hill. Purple knows you need the hill to win. He knows this. He's sending in berserk after berserk. Silvardaga. Green's cavalry are arriving, but they're getting stuck on everything. Will this be enough? Will they actually be able to secure control of the center from Yellow? 13 years remaining. We're down to 12 years left. Yellow has just enough troops here. Oh my god, we're down to 10 years. He still has a castle over here. 9 years remaining. He's running out of troops. Maybe Green's cavalry is just enough combined with the help of the berserkers. Oh my god, 7 years. Yellow still has a skirmisher. A few champions. 5 years remaining. 4 years remaining. Holy shit. He still has a pikeman. Oh, got it. 3 years left. Red actually manages to secure the center. Well done, Red and Blue. Good job, Tormacoy and Fortroy. You guys did it. Just barely. Earth Shogun, the Yellow Aztecs player, denied. 3 years remaining.
Yes.
Close to 5 seconds left to defeat. Everybody putting aside their differences for half a second. And by everybody, I mean War Master's still looking out for war. Gray doesn't give a shit about the center of the map. All he wants is pledge. Teal came in there and he messed up his stone mining operation. That's absolutely fucked up. So War Master coming in here, he's thirsting for justice. Gray's not playing to win. He's playing to make sure that Teal doesn't win. Some people just want to watch the world burn, or in this case, just watch Teal burn. Poor Pledge over here, having the game of his life, but he aggroed Gray. And now he's going to lose all of his castles, all of his center infrastructure, and maybe his entire base. War Master biding his time, of course, thinking through all of his moves very, very carefully. Gotta eliminate all the other players while everyone else takes care of the center of the map. So the game's still going on. Red has definitive control of the middle of the map, but he has to be careful, though. This is the thing. I don't think Red will be the one to win here, mostly because as the timer goes down to like 50 years and then Blue double crosses him, we have all these castles right here, right at the front, and Red doesn't really have any of this. So Red's going to have a lot of trouble holding the line here against all of Blue's guys, but I do like how he's letting Blue throw away a lot of his troops to these castles first. That way Red gets to make sure that he has a really strong army. One way to sort of mind games this out is if like Red made a bunch of hand cannoneers. He knows that he'll have to fight Blue eventually, so with a huge army of hand cannoneers, he'll have the counter army prepared for his ally later. Oh, man. Also, am I Sicko Plays? Save your tank, I'm not Sicko Plays, I'm Resonance 22. My old account was Illuminite. Yeah, no, I'm definitely Resonance 22. I don't have any alternate accounts. Ah, yes, Blue moving his guys over to the middle of the map. He knows, both of them. Locked eyes, staring into each other. Meanwhile, Purple occasionally sending in small forces of those berserks. Kind of like what the Conquerors AI used to do, right? You know, you'd send like little small groups of dudes. It's amazing how much Purple's actually dictating the pace of this game, because honestly they needed just a little bit. Really, like, if Purple hadn't been streaming in troops yet again, they might not have had enough manpower to actually take Yellow off the center of the map, as funny as it is. It might not seem like these Berserks are doing anything, but they're weakening those armies enough that Yellow wasn't able to hold it for just 3 more years. Purple, our savior, has arrived with more reinforcements, trying to continue his stone mining operation. Meanwhile, Gray not content with winning the game, until Teal has no villagers remaining. Look at the bloodlust here. Gray, the thirstiest Saracens player I've ever seen. Wow. You know, I'm no historian, but I don't think this is how the Incas died off. Poor Teal, almost completely irrelevant at this point. He's gonna have to try his best to defend against this, but really, like, War Master's just all over him. So many economic losses. So many economic losses. He's gonna have to build a lot of town centers, try and build back, but Teal's been doing a good job defending. Gray's not even paying attention to the center of the map at all. I mean, he's gonna have to start. Ooh, Red has to be careful, because if he pulls off too many of his guys, you know, Blue's got his finger right now on the enemy button, and oh shit. I don't know if Red actually meant to do that, but Red brought all of his guys off the center of the hill right there, and since he didn't have anything there, and Blue did, then it actually converted to Blue's side. And they didn't even have to swap alliances, so what nice people right here, Blue and Red. They're content to make sure that they're the last 2 players left in this game. They're gonna win together. They don't even have to betray each other here. I love it. Swapping control of the center, that way they can fight each other later. Purple still regrouping his guys, has the university, no blacksmith. Second town center down, I like to see this, I do. He's still building up his villagers. As soon as he gets the blacksmith down, he will be a threat. Blue and Red on the same team, cuddling in the center of the map. Meanwhile, Green is pissed. Green also out for blood, bringing a little bit of everything into Yellow's base. And this is what I was talking about, is that even though Yellow appears to have a colossal score lead throughout the entire game, and we think that he would be heavily favored to win, I don't necessarily think that's the case. The nature of King of the Hill means that he has to be very, very careful where he flexes his muscles, and he pissed off Green, he might regret it. I'm aware, Dark Paladin. The Blackman says you don't remember that time when the Arab mounted camels hunted the Incas to extinction. America's education is indeed poor. Yeah, I know, right? The school system here is a little bit unfortunate. You'd think I would have learned about that. Just like of course, the Texas map that they have in Age of Empires too. Historically, where the what was it, like the Koreans and the Mayans fought each other. Yes, I remember that war very, very clearly. Oh. Green moving the line forward. Yellow, very, very close to actually dead. I don't think any players are really trading with each other right now, but I feel like they might as well be. One thing that I didn't mention in the Regicide Land Nomad game that I uploaded, I think that Gray in that game didn't actually have Trade Caravan. And I'm glad to see that Blue actually has Trade Caravan, because it makes your trade carts move twice as fast, which means that you generate a lot more gold. Good guy, Red. He trusts Blue so much. They got all the hate out of their system. All the hate out of their system. That he's just going to let Blue station his army right there while he goes and fights Red. Clock is ticking, 60 years remaining. So much blind faith. Or so I say that, as Red's building a couple of those cheap Frankish castles right near this army. He's got his finger over the enemy button as soon as the time is right. Meanwhile, those pikemen not able to kill that onager in time. Green inching his army forward. Yellow trying his best to stall. Looks like Teal's finally stabilized as Gray has shifted his attention onto Red's army, but Red is going to retreat back into the safety of his castles, into the safety of Blue's army. And right now, 50 years remaining, one of them is going to come out on top eventually. We'll see Xavier Tenka. I might post the replay if there's enough demand for it. Yeah, T98, I believe it's only Blue and Red who's really been trading. I think Yellow and Gray have been trading for a little bit. Speaking of Yellow and Gray, by the way, I feel like Gray should turn some of his bloodlust a little bit to the left, because Yellow has seen better days. The Trebuchet will sort of break the stall here. I don't think he actually has siege engineers, which will be, you know, giving his siege weapons 25% extra damage to buildings and extra 1 range, which will really help break this siege. Yellow trying his best to stall. That's why I like that Green was throwing in some onagers. Yeah, if he could just grab siege engineers, I think that'd make a massive difference. And meanwhile, the hero has returned. He's massed up a bunch of dudes. But Purple, you can stop dude production at any point and reach the Imperial Age. This onager left completely unaccompanied. Purple, the opportunist, going to clean that one up. Deny this archer range. He's coming in here, looking for control of the map. God, I wish the Blue would just move his army a little bit to the left, and then Purple could kill a couple of these and then take control of the middle. Purple's one of the few players in this game that's actually been playing this game straight and just going straight for the hill. He's got the tunnel vision. Oh my god. Just get your upgrades, man. You've got this. You've got this. Well, blue gonna have to retreat, running in terror from the scary, massive Viking army. Ah, the javelins, they do nothing. Zerk's regenerating so much HP. Game freezing because they can't handle purple's raw military power. Look at blue kiting away. He knows he can't beat purple in a straight up fight, backing his army up as far away as physically possible. Meanwhile, purple's brought in the Petard. Oh, this is it, man. This is legit. You're gonna wipe out that castle in one hit. All 6,000 HP killed instantly. Will this Petard, how much damage will it do to everybody? Oh my god, this is like spending 80 food and 20 gold on a shitty mangonel blast. Boom! Doesn't kill any halberdiers, but substantially weakens them a little bit, doing not that much damage. Either way, those Petards, we're going to be very, very injured by that Petard. So this halberdier is going to be very injured by that Petard. Actually, the Petard is like 60 food now, right? That makes it efficient. Meanwhile, blue has double-crossed red. And actually, we're down to 10 years remaining. Blue has finally double-crossed red, so let's swap back to Fort Troy's perspective. Can he hold this for the remaining 9 years? He's a ton of trebuchets, so blue was prepared for this. He just has to hold it for 8 more years. Can red push him back? Oh, holy shit, oh my god, I actually think the blue's going to win this game. Gray's not even reacting, and neither is yellow. Green's not here either. Oh my god, blue's actually going to win. Ah! He waited at the last second. That's because good guy red. Oh, he trusts blue so much. He pulled his army off over to the left to go attack gray. And blue's gonna hold it. These last few halberdiers. If only people listened to purple. Oh my god. If only they listened to purple. Oh, oh, our hero, no. Ah, purple. Once again, almost able to send enough manpower to dethrone blue. This is pretty good. I like these settings. There might be a better way to do this in the future, and as always, I'm open to your ideas, but I like this one. I feel like this is appropriate length. Plenty of action, double crossing. I like this a lot. Not over 2 hours. Well done for Troy! And this is very appropriate because my name happens to be Troy. So blue won it for me. Thank you so much, blue. I'm very proud of you. And Tor McCoy's got to feel bad about that one, man. He had control. But he's going on War Master. War Master, by the way, completely ignoring the center hill. All of his eyes. These guys have the bloodlust. Green as well, purely going for yellow. And while everybody is too busy fighting each other, it's just blue and red in the middle with a little bit of purple in there. Just these 3 players. Everyone else can tend to kill each other. Fort Troy system also called Troy. Hell yeah, man. Troy 2016. What a game. God, and look at red coming in here trying to blow up all that economy too. I love it. Solid game. I'm glad that blue won. Especially because, let's take a moment to consider this. Blue and purple were the 2 underdogs this game. Absolutely. They were 2 of the newer players in this match for sure. And if there's anyone who I think it would have been awesome to win this game, it would definitely have been blue. As yeah, blue had to deal with a lot of huge powers this game. Players with double his score. Blue, and yet he still managed to strategically win the game. He saw the opportunity, allied with red, sat here biding his time, and at the last minute, swapped his alliance. He was so ready for this. This is a great play. You know, he had all these trebuchets already stationed there. He was absolutely prepared for this, whereas red was a little bit surprised. And blue managed to have just enough troops in the middle, of course calculating that he needed exactly that many to survive purple's assault. And he manages to win in the end, while the rest of the players too busy fighting amongst each other. Blue the chess master, able to secure the victory. Well played. Aw, man. Take a look at these stats. Oh god. Yeah, so even though yellow is definitely like one of the strongest players in this game, he still managed to lose anyway, and this is because, yeah, that's why I kind of like the format. He got ganged up on a lot. I do think though that it was perhaps a little bit absurd how much players really hated him, as there was a time when he was about to win the game and he almost won too. But if they just all shifted their attention towards the center, perhaps blue would not have been able to usurp it at the last second. So players with a little bit of tunnel vision, but that's why you don't piss off War Master. Oh man. And congratulations, Raceland, with the 1 unit converted, the highest out of everybody. If you just get your blacksmith upgrades next game, you will carry the game. I guarantee it. I guarantee it, my friend. This is a really, really close one. A lot of really great battles here, and Red with, by far, basically the best KD in the game, so well done. Well done. Look at the size of these economies. Yeah, the trade profit here was disastrously low for everybody, but the game, I guess, didn't go on long enough that it was that important. I'm just surprised to see the trade profit was that low, with actually yellow coming out on top with 276 trade profit, blue with only 69. Ah, yes. Teal also a powerhouse, but as soon as he aggroed gray, everything just started going downhill really, really fast. I'll tell you, the play from blue there was very, very inspirational. I'm going to have to mass some cavalry archers and do a cavalry archer rush, I think. Ooh, that was close. Racing the real MVP. Seriously, well done, though. Like, I know that it was one of your first games, and you were absolutely instrumental in the way that that game turned out. Like, you almost managed to take control away from blue. You held the center monument for, almost 40 years, and you managed to take it away from yellow as well. So, very well done, Raceland. If you just make some more villagers, you build a blacksmith, you're going to be carrying games in no time. The next, the Viper, on his way. Oh, man. Okay, so that was exhausting to cast. But I hope you guys really, really enjoyed watching this match. We will post it on YouTube, so when I upload it, feel free to give that a look. Of course, if you're looking for more Age of Empires 2 content, as well as content for other games, then you're in the right place. So feel free to go scan through my channel. I'll have links in the video description to whatever you need, including things like African Kingdom Civs overviews, in case you're interested in those. And if you want to be a part of the Twitch TV live stream, perhaps, then you can just head on over to my Twitch page, scroll underneath the video player there, and you can find my schedule. That's the best way to know when I'm streaming next. I do update it all the time, so make sure you keep your eyes peeled. Maybe even show up a little bit early. Raceland's the new Resonance 22. Damn right, JMS. Expression says, I was the one who betrayed blue, not him. Yep. Oh, what a game. So yeah, I will be uploading this one, so keep your eyes peeled. I have a couple of things queued up in the meantime and a lot of wonderful surprises on the way. I think I'll be trying to do some Hearthstone on the side or something like that, just to mix things up a little bit. But of course, I'm open to your ideas. As always, thank you so much for watching, but don't go anywhere for those of you who are watching live. There will be 2 more matches after this, which we will all start shortly. But before I do that, I am going to take a short few-minute break, as I could use a glass of water after that, do some stretching, then we'll jump straight into Game 2, and then we'll do Game 3 after that. So yes, BRB. See you all shortly. Thank you so much for your support so far. Feel free to leave the follow below, and we'll be right back. GG, well played. Congratulations for Troy. Everyone played that match really, really well. I hope you guys had fun.